How was this kind of meditation? More or less the same, or did you feel a difference between the focusing on the breath, where you know where to focus on, and in this case you're the sky, or you're the whole screen where the landscape appears on?
Well, I like the mountain, I like the sky, I like the ocean. I like that, to be able to just pull that in and just feel ripples of, not so important ripples.
Okay, good, good. 今回の瞑想、なんか六甲さんになったつもりで座るのと呼吸に集中するのとなんか違ってましたか？大体同じですか？
同じではなかった。
はいはい。
ビパッサナの方が慣れてるからやりやすい。
なるほど、なるほど。はい。
で、六甲山の方は若干六甲山の上からランドスケープで見るっていう感じは慣れてないから、
はいはい。
意識が時々飛んでました。
なるほど。はい。What's your name?
Langer.
Langer.
Yeah, L-A-N-G-A. Langer. Yeah.
Langer. How did it work for you?
There was a lot of wandering around.
Yeah.
I definitely went to many different places. I was thinking about tomorrow and next week and my plans. Yeah. So, but I think it was good. Like the style was interesting.
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, it's a little bit more difficult because when you realize, oh, I'm a little bit lost. I'm lost in the clouds. Like clouds and the sky are another favorite metaphor. The sky doesn't have to be worried about the clouds, but you realize at one point, I'm lost in the clouds. I'm not the sky anymore. I'm drifting with the clouds. So when you realize that, where do you return to? Well, to the sky, but the sky is hard to grasp. While the breath or mantra is easier to grasp. I return to my mantra, I return to the breath. In a way, it's easier. That's why, for example, in Goenka style meditation, you start with samatha, and after that you do vipassana. So samatha is the focus, and vipassana is wide angle meditation. The other way around, it wouldn't make much sense. Like if you start with the wide angle meditation, the problem is you get lost. So you first train the focusing meditation, and after that you open up and see the whole scenery, the whole landscape after that. Yeah, we still have some time, so we could, how do you say? In Japanese you would say challenge, but do you say in English challenge? A long meditation, you don't say that. Try, you would say in English, you try it with a longer meditation. In Japanese, you say nanika ni challenge suru, but I don't think that's what you say in English. You would say we try a longer meditation.
Challenge yourselves too. Let's challenge ourselves.
Yes, but you wouldn't say I challenge a 30-minute meditation. No, try 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes is a little bit long, but a little bit longer. Like the next meditation, like I talked about the sky opening up. And usually I add a fourth step. Maybe I already explained in one of the first workshops. Fourth step in my metaphor would be to become the meadow itself, to become the whole scenery. So it's not so different from being the sky, or not so different from standing on top of Mount Lokko. The difference being when you're at the top of the mountain, you're far away from what is happening down there. And that can be a very liberating experience. I'm way up here. None of this doesn't really have to bother me at all. And for example, if people like myself, or maybe it was similar with Anjin, I don't really know Anjin's story, but if you choose to become a monk or a nun and you enter a temple in a way that allows you to take this perspective. You don't have to file your taxes, or in theory you have, but you have no income, you don't pay any rent, so it's very easy. Tax filing when you're training monk, it's just you have to sign. No income, no outgoing money, zero. It makes things very easy. Your whole life becomes very easy. It's like, in a way, being on top of Mount Lokko, and you still see the world around you, but doesn't really bother you so much. But most of us don't have this option, or even like when you've trained in a monastery for a while, usually in Japan, after a while you have to leave again. You have to return to the world. Returning to the world is very important. And maybe you have a family, you have a job. So just being this guy alone often doesn't work. You also don't want to be that nervous, neurotic shepherd all the time. What can you be? What I then say is, become the meadow itself. Allow the sheep to trample on you. Allow the sheep to feed on you. And if at the end of the day they want to take a dump on you, also take that. I'm here for you. You can do whatever you want with me. And in the case of Zazen, that basically means rather than detach yourself from the scenery, become the scenery. Allow those trains to really drive through you in a way. And during these 2-hour workshops, probably you don't have to deal with really terrible physical or psychological pain. But if you train in a monastery and sometimes you sit for a whole week, that can be like a train riding over you. Like sometimes the pain seems to kill you. Sometimes these stuff that come up that are 10 years, 20 years, 30 years old, but still they somehow play a big role in you. Rather than detach yourself from that pain, oh, it's not really my pain. Become the pain. Allow the pain to swallow you, is what I would say. So sometimes it feels not so difficult from the sky perspective, the mountain perspective, but actually it's quite different in the way that you don't detach yourself from the scenery, but rather you allow the scenery to swallow you up. So if you want to try that with me as well, and maybe taste if there's a difference, if it feels a little bit different from what we did before, I would say let's try that as well. And maybe this time sit a little longer, maybe 20 minutes. Is that enough? Not enough. Is it too long? I hope it's not too long. Let's sit for a little longer time, and probably 20 minutes you get lost a couple of times, and you don't have to, like for example, if you have how do you say, if you can't really relate to this metaphor of becoming the meadow. I don't really know what he means when he says become the meadow, become the landscape, or allowing myself to be swallowed up. You can also work with what we already did. So sometimes maybe it helps you during this 20 minutes to just come back to the breath for a while, for a couple of minutes. And then you remind yourself of being the mountain and you see the whole scenery. But if you have a kind of feeling what I mean with coming down from the mountain and becoming the meadow, becoming the whole scenery, even letting go of the observer, you forget that neutral observer that's sitting in the last row of the cinema, but rather, in a way, you return to the movie, you become the movie. You allow the movie to swallow you up. If you can relate to that, you can try that as well.